Salutations! I'm Stegoto77, and today we've got the Septimator Prime. So, this is going to be a Moze build that is based on a challenge posted in the comments section, and we'll be utilizing Septimator Prime as our primary weapon, as this weapon very much fits within the challenge parameters that were given, and it's honestly, in my opinion, a fun little sniper rifle to use. I felt it was kind of strong to be showcased as a challenge build on its own, and it's not strong enough to warrant a thematic build based around it, or to include it on any like generalized stronger build. So it was in this weird gray area of not being able to be used in a challenge build. I had it on my list, but I just put it at the bottom because, like, well, if I ever run out of content, there's still more weapons I can just throw in a build and try out and use on a video. But we actually have a reason to pull this out today. So I'm gonna go over the challenge parameters here. This is from good lord, I can't freaking speak. Mirai, I think that's how you pronounce that. Commented this on the Dowsing Rod Moze video. Here's the comment here. Moze without maxing blue tree, no blue tree if you can handle it, and no bear-centric builds. And then later in a reply comment, bonus points if it's Vladoff allegiance. It's both symbolic and beneficial utilizing match set. And beneficial because it utilizes match set. So it's a good concept to work around, going all in on Vladoff and whatnot. And I was like, well, I have a couple build archetypes for Moze that I would naturally use that already does this, just simply because I needed a build archetype that would allow me to showcase weapons that I wanted to use on Moze without requirements, without using skills like Fire in the Skag Den or Short Fuse, which completely rewrite the showcase and makes it 100% based on those skills and not based on the weapon. Fire in the Skag Den less much. It's a lot more on Short Fuse in that regard, but you get the idea. It's the same reason why a lot of the times you don't see me using, what's the name of the skill? Ties That Bind. It's one of the reasons why you don't see me use Ties That Bind on Amara a lot. It's simply because I want to showcase the weapon. I want to feel like I'm using the weapon and not abusing an action skill. And so I've made a couple previous videos utilizing actual Moze builds, like the Dowsing Rod video. Dowsing Rod is a really good tool for utilizing Short Fuse because it's a high magazine, high fire rate weapon that gives you a lot of procs on Short Fuse. And so it was like, well, I'll use this to get the showcase of that build archetype out of the way so I can use a build like this. And now I was given an actual challenge to use this build archetype. So it's like, well, okay, so how do I spice this up, make this a touch more unique without spoiling the rest of how this build archetype works for an actual build later? So I decided to use the Shield Maiden comm. Since I just made my purple comm tier list this week, I thought this would be a good addition, utilizing a purple comm to make this build shine a little bit more, being a little bit more of a challenge, as we are using Vladoff Ingenuity, double downing on that Vladoff allegiance. Now, we don't have the Vladoff Company Man, but that's just simply because I wanted to use a Snowdrift. That's the only reason I wanted to use a Snowdrift. But a Vladoff Company Man would just outright be better for this build. It would increase the DPS by a large margin, and I'm sure I wouldn't have as much movement speed, but the DPS would be all that would really matter here. Like, the snipers would absolutely shred everything, and it would be a walk in the park. So I personally took a little bit of that back and was like, I just want to use a Snowdrift. I'm just using it. That's the way we're going to do this. And we have Vladoff Grenade, the Peonade, as per the usual, with the, not action skill, good lord, grenade throw on it. So I chuck a grenade, get extra V1 damage. Then we have the Plus Ultra here. Using the Plus Ultra on Moze isn't very common unless you are doing a Iron Bear based build, which this is not. So This isn't very common. This is my default go-to shield when it comes to a lot of survivability things. But when it comes to this build in particular, this shield works out really well. I love this setup when I'm rocking this shield. Double capacity, and then seeing as we're not using blue tree, we will be going down a lot of red tree, and utilizing some of the skills. This still gives me a good health reserve while not having while still being able to have a really large shield capacity. All right, let's go over the weapons here, like the actual weapon stats. So this is a ×2 prime. I don't have a good anointment. I'm not using this one. This is what I'm going to be using. Has a really good anointment. The parts on it are not very good, but I already had this one, and the other 3 I farmed, and I was just like, I don't feel like re-rolling it. Because like these 2 are just definitively better. Actually, this one is just definitively better in all regards than this one. So that exists. But I didn't feel like re-rolling, so we're going to be using this. Although, thinking about it, mathematically speaking, this would make the run so much easier if I ran this. But that's besides the point. We're using this one. Alright. So, here's red tree. We've got armored infantry, which gives us gun damage and damage reduction. So when it comes to Moze, there's a lot of small gun damage bonuses that all add up to be a relatively large number. So you need to actually go for these gun damage bonuses if you want to make a gun damage build, which is still viable. Alright, so Vladoff Ingenuity. This skill is weird. So, we have a large amount of recharge rate and max shields, but then that damage, the shock damage resistance is actually lying to you. It's not 64%, it's actually 180%. Why? I can't tell you. Gearbox needs to fix their stuff. But it's actually 180%. You can check Loot Lemon to double verify with other people to make sure that I'm not a lying nutcase. And yeah, so this gives a boatload of damage reduction when it comes to shock damage. It's 18% at 1 point, 90% at 5 points, and 180% at 10 points. We got Thin Red Line. So this is why I was saying that the Plus Ultra is actually really fun with the setup. So we are reserving max HP into our shield. If our max HP is doubled, then we're getting more in our shield. And we are also giving us more baseline health to work with while we're using Desperate Measures, because this is percentage based and not based off health value. So we can keep up that higher gun damage number while having a relatively higher amount of HP than on average. Drowning in Brass. So this skill reduces fire rate for increased team gun damage. This gun damage applies to everybody on your team, not just you. So we can get up to 60% increased gun damage, but reducing fire rate. Now, with this build, I grabbed it because we're using a high fire rate sniper rifle that doesn't need the fire rate per se. We need like 3 shots per enemy to kill, and the fire rate is extremely high, and so reducing it this way doesn't really affect much. Reducing it by 7.5%, right? 2.5, 5, 7.5. I can do math. I just need to double verify in my head consciously for some reason. So we're getting 7.5% fire rate reduction from this skill, but we have a counterbalance later, and the gun's fire rate is already naturally really high, so this isn't going to be affecting us too much. Experimental munitions. This skill kind of sucks for most things. So this skill is kind of bad if you're not using Fire in the Skag Den, and the reason for that, this does it based off of the damage on the item card, not based off of your not based off of the actual bonuses that you're giving to the gun. So you subtract all of your extra bonuses from this, and you just use the item card damage, and it's 15% of the item card. Should we come back over here? So it's not very much at all. especially in the grand scheme of things, but it is helpful. And the reason why I say that, the incendiary dot that this applies it's not incendiary. I mean, like, it is fire damage. It gets fire damage bonuses, sort of. It works sort of in the same way that the Infernal Wish does when it counts as a separate elemental bonus. So it's not just bonus incendiary damage. It is bonus, like, incendiary damage too. If that makes a little bit more sense. And so how that applies to this setup, we can get it to proc a separate effect of Harmageddon. So enemies take 5% more damage per unique status effect on them. This applies a unique status effect that is not fire damage, but it is fire damage. So we get our sniper fire damage, we get this fire damage, we get the corrosive from the anointment on sniper, and we get the shock from the shield, getting us at 20% increased damage from all of the status effects with Harmageddon. So now we're at 45% V1 damage from just our equipment and this skill. For the technical players, this probably makes a lot of sense really quickly. For the ones that it doesn't make sense, try to come up with the question. I'll try and rephrase it again at some point. I understand this is very in the weeds and technical when it comes to the skill, so I do apologize for those that don't understand. I will try and explain it better. If you guys want, you can join the Discord and I can give you better in-depth conversation about this skill, and I can talk you through how this works. Going down here, we have more crit stuff. We have Forceful Feedback, which is giving us shield restoration. Phalanx Doctrine, kill skill, that's going to be one of our main stacking damage sources. It's going to be a long-term build-up damage instead of it simply being a immediate, we have all the damage kind of thing. And then Tenacious Defense gives us another buffer point for survivability. Since we don't have lifesteal, I'm not using Russian Offensive. We saw what happened with the Dowsing Rod. Cloud of Lead, Match Set, Redistribution, all this stuff is kind of basic for Moze, so this all makes sense for what we're doing. Match Set, because we're running like all of the Vladoff stuff. And yeah, all of this is kind of generic. Big Surplus. So, this skill, it increases your skill damage by the amount of gun damage that by 15% of the amount of gun damage that you are applying. So all of your skills, gun damage increases and all of that. It takes all of that, 15% of it, and then scales it with Mayhem, I think, I'm pretty sure, and applies it as skill damage bonus, which then makes it apply to all of your skills, such as Experimental Munitions and Cloud of Lead, that kind of thing. It also applies to Iron Bear, and all of those kinds of bonuses. Anything that it can apply to that gives like a direct like bonus. If it says bonus incendiary damage or bonus elemental damage of some sort, this helps a lot. Or for other things that proc a specific effect, so like secondary explosions on Short Fuse, it helps a Short Fuse a lot. With Fire in the Skag Den, it buffs Fire in the Skag Den, which does stupid shenanigans. Alright, so we got Harmonious Havoc, because a lot of our weapons are matching with the same element. Now, this would be even better if I had Fire on my shield, but I don't. So, I was farming for the Septimator Primes, and I was like, I'm not getting a Fire plus Ultra. Can I get a Fire plus Ultra? Nope. Yeah, and it's like, well, there's that. I guess I'm just gonna take one of my shock copies from my vault, which sucked, but what else can you do here? And Fired Up is going to help us counteract the Drowning in Brass fire rate reduction, and sometimes keep us above it. And Explosive Fury gives us a lot of status effects, damage increases, so 15%, and it gives us more chance to apply status effects. Alright, so now to go over Iron Bear. We will be using Iron Bear in this build, but it's not Iron Bear-centric. There's going to be a lot of action skill end procking and a lot of cycling Iron Bear. We'll probably only use Iron Bear's attack once per summon of Iron Bear. We're going to be using Bear Fist. And we're going to be using Close the Distance to pull an enemy close to me that I have a hard time like landing crits on. I'm going to pull them close and then get out of Iron Bear and some for the road, hold down the trigger and nuke that enemy. At least that's the idea. Did I leave my water in the... Oh, nope, here it is. I put the water on the other side of an object. Good lord. Okay. But yeah, that's the build, and we've got some hot takes in the Discord server today. So I'm definitely going to be chatting in here for a little bit. We had somebody say that they thought the Borderlands movie was amazing, and we were talking about Borderlands 4 and potential stuff for that. So I kind of stopped them and was like, I want to record. I needed to record this video anyways, so let's just have this conversation while I'm recording a video, so this way you guys can get my opinion on stuff. And yeah, let's get started. Actually, let's pull up, what song am I going to use today? I'm thinking we use Pandemonic Planet.
That's a song of all time.
How fitting.
My god, guess what? My game crashed right when I was recording.
Oh, well, that sounds about right.
That's ominous premonition.
Can I... Hey, Stereo?
What's up?
Can you be, so I need another person to make the game even harder. Can you come in with, a build?
After my video, which I've started, yeah.
Alright. Because I need to increase as much... I need to be able to have it be a multiplayer build to show that I'm able to do the damage and stuff.
Okay, wait, for
trials.
what content? For trials?
Yep.
Okay, that's cool.
I was gonna do a Maliwan Takedown and then go straight to the, Pervert.
Okay.
But my OBS Studios decided to crash my game.
That sounds about right. What's wrong, enemy? Oh, well. I should probably be streaming to you guys in here.
So, Stereo,
What's up?
did you see the Borderlands movie or did you not see it yet?
No, I sadly haven't watched it, but honestly, it's already out of theaters, so I'm not gonna be able to watch it until it gets to streaming platforms. Yeah, it's already out. It's already out of
I knew
theaters.
it was gonna come out in a couple of days, but it
and
came
you
out
can watch it
for
for free.
theaters that fast.
It's already out of the theaters that are near me, so I can't go watch it. And I don't feel like watching it on a streaming service, so I'm just not gonna watch it.
Well,
Then why don't you download
We'll
VR
watch it.
Chat and watch it for
No,
free?
I'm not getting VR chat. That is a freaking cursed sin. Not happening.
He does not wish to have the mark of the beast on his computer.
Mark of the Beast? How is VR Chat Mark of the Beast?
I don't even know what that means.
It's a bibliological term.
Bibliological.
logical.
That is certainly a descriptor.
Let the man speak.
What?
Good lord.
Mark of the Beast is in Revelation.
Yeah, I'm not very good with the religious stuff.
Is that the Scepter Prime?
Yes, it is.
Damn.
It's the Septimator Prime on a build without Blue Tree.
Oh god. Can you even use the RPG?
Yeah. Swap over to that. It's not going to deal too much damage to the bosses, but we can use it. The sniper, part of it is just better than the RPG, but it is usable. The RPG would be a lot better on
Wish.
Flak.
You're using Infernal Wish, I see.
Nope.
Really?
I'm using the Plus Ultra.
Really?
Yep. I usually prefer to go with survivability stuff for my shields.
I have the Infernal Wish on and get over 500k shield.
Well, yes, but I'm using a purple comm, so I don't have Bloodletter. So having a very large shield, sure, it's slightly helpful, but I'm still reliant on the shield and health gate mechanics, so...
Yeah, I don't get why people think that purple class mods are trash when they're not.
Some can be good, but
There's a lot of them that are really good. There's also a lot of them that are really freaking bad, and there's others that are just mid because legendaries are just better than them for what they do.
yeah.
Which I'm making tier list videos on those, so if you want to check those out, at least my opinions on what ones are good or not, there you
Remember
go.
to like and subscribe.
If they would make
No. I don't typically tell people to do that. I just like to promote other content so that people can
really started the transition into saying like or subscribe.
Remember, if you dislike this guy's content, please unsubscribe. Just unsubscribe right now. You don't
Remember
want
to block them too.
YouTube should allow for a block.
You used to be able to back when they had a chat messaging service.
They had a chat messaging service?
Yep, I used it to troll people a lot back in the day.
That's good, yeah. That's news. When did they have it?
Like 6 years ago?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it since.
Stereo.
What's up?
So imagine if they had a purple class mod that had +5 in the heat bites.
I don't see why you would need that because you can have +3 in he bites on a red fang.
Yeah, but make it more difficult. Make it +3 in the heat bites and +2 in all my BFFs.
Well, it's like, the skill doesn't even need that much. Realistically, you only need 1 point.
Yeah, but if you wanna be a dick to him,
Let's go! Let's go!
Die?
I pulled the Valk into the abyss.
Nice.
Let's go.
Hence, I should be watching.
I can't believe you can actually pull Valkyries into the void.
Yeah.
Yep.
You speedrun that bit?
No, there's no point to it at all, but it's funny. You're probably better off just one-shotting the Valks on a in a speed run than you are attempting to do that.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Yeah.
I knew you were gonna say that. Like, yeah, well, just one shot.
Call my boy in, Nova the Husky Wolf just to come obliviate everything in one shot.
Okay.
31.
So I heard hot take on movie, and I am interested.
So I would say they need to elaborate how Lilith became the Iridium daughter. They need to elaborate more on the story of how she knew that she was the Iridium daughter.
The hell is the Iridium daughter? I don't remember that ever being stated in Borderlands.
I watched the movie twice.
Oh, Colton, you haven't watched it yet, have you?
I haven't watched the movie yet, but I have been informed on many negative aspects of the movie.
Well, of course,
Not
because
directly
there's a
that
lot
they
of people
are
that
negative,
are like...
but I've been mostly informed.
There's
on
a lot of
aspects that I
die-hard
myself
Borderlands
have dictated
fans
they are
that
negative.
won't listen to the story. They're trying to elaborate on how Lilith got her powers.
I look into stories based off of stories, not because it's a Borderlands IP.
Well, I feel
I
like
can separate the art.
there were a lot of people that did say that they didn't like it because of the story as well. But there's also the other side of it where it's like a lot of people think that because of how it's written, that it's a separate like universe.
Different like timeline.
Yeah, because it's
yeah.
like they use some of the same characters but in different ways and rewrite things that are so different from the main canon that is just like it's not feasible for it to have all just been rewrites or retcons.
Was that the
But
intention?
I have
they
a
were
question, Stereo. Has there ever been in the game that talked about Lilith's backstory?
No, not really.
No.
In the movie, it talks about her backstory.
Well,
Okay.
That.
It also talks about Tiny Tina's backstory. Let's look
Yeah.
into that for a second. Tiny Tina's backstory in Borderlands 2, for those who don't know, is they grew up on Pandora. Their parents were on Pandora. They purely have been on Pandora almost all their life until the events of Borderlands 3. And they are insane and crazy because of Pandora.
In the movie, she is the daughter of Iridium or something like that. The Atlas Corporation made her so that she could open up vaults.
isn't like the premise of that like the corporation took freaking DNA from Lilith's mother and then created Tina out of that?
They found blood on it, Iridium blood on a vault key, and they took blood from the vault.
From Lilith's dead mother was the intent that I heard. I could be wrong. I'm literally getting my sources from external sources and not from the movie. But that was the stuff that I heard.
She did not say her mother died, but they did not tell how her mother died.
Okay.
So you could be right, we could be wrong.
Oh, that's not good. Actually, that's death.
No. I hate
Or-
flying enemies.
It's not. We're good.
No, thank you.
Skill issue if you would have died.
Well,
I love getting into mech for like 3 seconds.
Well, I was
A
specifically
highlight.
told for the challenge to make it not bear-centric, so it is not bear-centric.
Why are you firing them?
Hmm?
Just out of curiosity.
So
You
I
are firing rockets from the bear that's
I'm
leaving.
not. They're the close the distance from Bear Fist.
Ah,
It's to apply the dot for Harmageddon and then pull them to me for better some for the road usage.
yeah, makes sense.
It's used rawly for support. What?
Damn!
I had a mild jump
Holy
scare.
heck!
That was
Oh, because of the freaking dogs didn't let my shield regen. They were frame 1 catching my shields to 0, and
Dude,
then
that's
because of that I
amazing.
didn't have health gate and death occurred really quickly.
they're just advanced.
Why can't I slide? What is slowing me down? I'm not cryoed.
The Dokkan video is
Dude, I just spent 50 million Maka and I'm not even done the guy who killed me. That's all my money down here. I spent so much money on it. Her magic is.
Are you recording right now, Stereo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, I can't say what I was gonna say.
Mm.
I mean, her lowest stat is 782 agility. Ignore her strength, that's not relevant. She's not a physical attacker, I swear.
The only thing that I asked Stereo is that we might have to go into private VC for me to record that video because I can't have cussing.
Okay.
Why no cussing?
Because TikTok is anal on their guidelines.
Oh
Bad
yeah,
platform.
Chinese app.
Mm.
Yeah. I just say Chinese app, you know.
Let's not go down that rabbit hole right now. What are y'all's thoughts on the Borderlands 4 trailer? The teaser trailer.
Oh boy! Oh boy, it gets me hyped up, boy. That means, you know what? That means Sear's conversation with us, of us ripping the fabrics of reality, is coming true.
That was the whole point of the seer, yes?
Handsome
Yup.
Jack comes back for no reason.
I don't know if
He's just
Randy
alive.
has confirmed that Handsome Jack is not going to make a return.
well, he's gone back on other statements similar to that before,
Yeah.
so I would take that with a grain of salt. But
He said,
Um,
there was a thing that looks very similar to Jack due to the vault symbol
Angel
location.
yeah,
Okay, I'm gonna
A lot of people were saying
Okay.
it was Jack, Jolt included, and Randy replied to a lot of them saying, no, it's not Jack, it is something, quote, far more dangerous.
okay. I mean, either way, it's the main villain. There's like that's the main premise of what he was trying to get at with that. It was the main villain.
Yeah.
Jack was just an asshole in general.
Yeah. Well, so what were y'all's thoughts? Are you guys hyped for BL4? Are you guys
Yes.
I'm looking forward to it, but I am not necessarily hyped because of the Borderlands movie. We need much more information on the Borderlands game. Preferably, possibly 30 minutes of gameplay would be really nice.
That's too much asking for Gearbox to give us.
They did it for Borderlands 3. They can do it for Borderlands 4.
And a lot of people complained about Borderlands 3, saying it wasn't good.
There's still a lot of issues with Borderlands 3.
Yes,
But
And
there-
I would say
I will agree with
there's
that.
enough to dictate it as not good, especially for the average gamer.
Well, if you're on PC, you wouldn't have that issue of all the console people have.
I played this
There
game
was
on
still
console when I first came out, and I was like,
tons of crashing issues.
and I still played it up
Wow.
for the first like year and a half to 2 years of the game being out.
Yeah,
I played
but
mostly on
Stereo,
console, and I
most of
still
the-
enjoyed it back then. And even despite some of the performance issues, it was still a lot of fun. And I still played it more than the other games.
it's more of that console people don't get to experience all the fun bugs that PC gets to experience, like the complex route, the
They can still
What else?
experience that. It would just kill the system.
no, actually it's old gen only that gets the bug.
Sort of. But yeah, I know what you're talking about.
If they would have not removed that bug, people would be like, oh, this build's fun. Oh, I can make my splash massively AoE and be
Even
looking
then,
like
I honestly think that was a good change. The complex route never should have been able to do that. I really think the complex route never should have been able to do that.
Yeah.
Actually, I feel like the Nukem should have been able to do that.
Well, no, I feel like the Nukem just should have been, I mean, like, it's still good. It's a good freaking launcher. It's
Yeah,
good
it
just
is.
as is. It doesn't need anything else. But if you wanted to try and improve it, I guess something you could do is increase the radius while reducing self damage. But
Because, well, I was thinking, this is how I thought. The weapon should down you no matter what. It's a freaking nuke.
no, because then that makes it
No.
like nearly unusable.
Not
that
if
would
you're
just
running
be
a
kind of dumb,
suicide node.
honestly.
If you're doing what?
if not if you're running a suicide build. You know, one of my builds was a suicide build.
Well, I mean, that is the intent of the build, sure, but then it makes it exclusive to that kind of setup, which then takes it away from casual gameplay.
If you can just use it as a rocket launcher, then it's a good weapon. If you can not use it as just a rocket launcher, then it is not a good weapon.
Well, that is a takedown confirmed. Now, leave y'all off with my opinion on the Borderlands 4 trailer and stuff. So, my thoughts on the trailer and the game coming out. There's a lot of skepticism when it comes to how the game is going to perform and how it's going to how well the game is going to be as a game when it comes out. Just because of all of the poor performance issues and poor planning of previous games like Wonderlands, and a lot of the lack of interest in actually developing DLCs for games like Wonderlands. And then along with the movie and whatnot, there's a lot of skepticism for the game. And with that just means to me have low expectations but have high hopes. So
really quickly, I would like to add on to your statement. I completely forgot about Wonderlands existing. I think Borderlands 4 has the possibility of being really good because of Wonderland's story, and the base game before Endgame was really good.
Well, it's really good to the BL3 players, but there's a lot of people that was like very much that, and this is one of the core differences between the BL3 and BL2 fan base. There's not very much dedicated loot farming in Wonderlands, and there's not very much of that in BL3. It exists, but it's not prevalent very much.
Maybe they'll realize after 2 games not having dedicated loot farming that you need it to have a successful game.
Well, clearly,
I'm talking
clearly they didn't, because Borderlands 3 is still doing really well. It has
3, really good
I'm gonna give you a little
no,
bit
it is
of
not
teaser
good, not at all. But it exists.
I'm gonna give you a little bit of teaser.
It
After
exists
the
far better than
Borderlands
launch.
3 movie launched,
Yeah, I guess.
sales increased by like I think 30-40% for Borderlands 3. I saw a news article on it.
Well, I mean, I would.
Just probably people playing the game because they remember that it exists.
Yeah, that and trying to get the movie out of their head
these
because
are
of the
new
amount of
players
people who
that
freaking.
that went and saw the Borderlands movie and was like, all right, I'm gonna go buy the game now.
I don't know where they got that evidence from, but all right.
I don't know. I mean, when it comes to that, I don't really care. I'm taking this from my perspective, being a Borderlands fan for a while, and basing it off of a lot of the information that I've heard about the movie and whatnot. But when it comes to it, I'm definitely taking it the approach of low expectations, high hopes, in the sense that having a letdown in hope doesn't, like, having a failure when it comes to not meeting hope is different than not meeting expectations. Expectations being like that minimum requirement for that PC to play a game versus hopes being that recommended specs to play that game. It's like, you're still going to be able to play the game, but it's just not going to be to the quality that you want, kind of thing. And that's kind of the approach that I like to take with most things.
Question, are they using Unreal Engine 5?
I'm pretty sure there was a statement saying that they were using 4. Like they did with BL3. I'm pretty sure they said it's the same engine. But the only way they would have done with 5 is if they... Was it a purple comp? Hold on. I got distracted. It's a purple comp. Actually, I can use that for build later. Sorry.
Alright. I'm loading in the Borderlands 3 whenever you're ready, Stereo.
But yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. This is double the normal time for a challenge build video. We also talked a lot, so...
Yeah.
I hope y'all enjoyed, and have a good rest of your days.